If you're a business owner struggling with social media content creation, then this is the perfect video for you. My name is Isaiah Hernandez with Table Media Group, and today we're going over the best practices for social media content creation. Let's get started. You have many different avenues you can go to increase your brand awareness. There's the paid route through print, which includes magazines, newspapers, etc. And there's the paid route through digital, which is like Facebook ads, Google Business ads, Yelp ads, you name it. But one of the best, most effective, and most important free way is social media. With social media, your business can organically engage and reach directly to the consumer who is buying your product. And that is why for this video, we are talking about best practices for social media strategy. So let's jump into overall strategy, starting with having a clear value proposition. What does that mean? Okay, let's identify it. It means, what is it that you're selling? And most importantly, why should consumers care? That is your value proposition. That's the very first thing you need for your social media strategy. You got to understand what it is you're selling, and you have to understand why should consumers care. If you can't figure those two out, you're going to have a very hard time growing your brand on social media. Next, let's go into understanding social media platforms. If we break down the big three, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, we're going to see very different audiences on each platform. We're going to see Facebook tends to be the older audience. We see Instagram tends to be a middle of the road, millennials, and a little bit of Gen Z, a splash of Gen Z and below, but primarily millennials. And then when we look at TikTok, it's going to primarily be Gen Z with a little splash of millennials and the younger generation. Now, one thing we want our clients to understand about TikTok is that TikTok equals a client for life. Because as we know the audience that's on there. We know as they grow and as they see your brand consistently through the years, they're gonna hop on at different points. And so you have to understand that you could be building a client for life by just keeping your content on there consistently through the years. So you may not think it's for you, but trust me, there's an angle for your business on TikTok. You just gotta identify what that is. Now, last part of overall strategy is vanity metrics. Now, vanity metrics do not matter anymore, okay? Let's get that clear. Like, it doesn't matter how many followers you have, so please don't get hung up on the whole follower count or starting your account from 0, from 100 or 500, whatever it is. You have to know that vanity metrics don't matter. The most important aspect of this is engagement. Why engagement? Because you're building a community. You're building a community with your consumers, and that's what they want to see. They want to be able to see a brand, person, etc., someone that they can relate to and that they can engage with and hear from you. Like if they're engaging with you and you're just not commenting back, no shot. But if they are commenting, liking, and you're following and you're interacting with them and just have great engagement with them, you'll see the return on investment there. Believe me when I say this, 100 organic followers who engage is gonna be much better than 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, a million bot followers, all right? That have nothing but just ghost accounts onto your profiles. After overall strategy, we move on to strategizing your content. Starting with, what do you specialize in? Understand what it is that your business specializes in. For example, I'll use a lender as an example. Lenders help consumers purchase homes. They give the financing and they give them the loan programs, etc. for that. Now, it's a lot more complex than that. It's not just as simple as like, I specialize in getting you into your first home or your second home. Oftentimes, lenders will specialize in buy down programs, right? For interest rates. They'll also specialize in VA loans. There's many different things that they can go and narrow down to say they specialize in to help separate them from their competition. So apply that concept to your business. What is it that you specialize in that can separate you from your competition, okay? Next, B2C, business to consumer. After you figure out what it is you specialize in, you move on to, now, where is that content directed at? Is it directed at B2C, meaning business to consumer? Are you going directly to the consumer because your product that you're offering or that service that you specialize in benefits the consumer? That's what you have to figure out, is your strategy for B2C. Or is it going to be B2B, meaning business to business? Does your service or the product you're specializing in benefit businesses the most? Or if it doesn't benefit businesses, can you use other businesses to help leverage your product? That's what you have to look at. So identifying and figuring out, is my strategy going to be more so for B2C or B2B? So figuring that out will help give you a more coherent and clear strategy. Next, let's move on to how to create content. This is where people struggle the most. A lot of businesses will struggle the most because they They may not see themselves as natural born content creators, and we get it. It's a lot of work to do this. Now, if you're running into a writer's block or you're running into some sort of struggle of like, how do I get my ideas from on paper to on social media, this will help you. Let's start with writing down 20 of the most frequently asked questions you receive in your business field or that you receive from consumers, other businesses, you name it. Identify these 20 most commonly asked questions and figure out, okay, here's an answer for all 20 of them, but go a step even further and write down an answer for different demographics. Think about someone who's a younger generation, someone who's in the middle generation, someone who's older generation. Think about what that product is that you're selling and how it can benefit different people at different stages of their life. So someone who's 20 years old may use your product for a different reason than someone who's in their 60s. So think of those different answers and how you can apply it to different demographics. Now imagine this, 20 questions, you have 5 different answers for each of those 20 questions. What is that? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. I'm really bad at math, so I had to count it out with my fingers. So that gives you 100 different answers, meaning potentially 100 different content ideas that you can start with right away. Try to understand how your audience feels about some of the topics that you're answering, and make sure you can lean on emotion to help give those answers, because that will help you connect with your audience a step further. Now, if you have 100 people who have asked these questions, imagine on social media the thousands or potentially even more who have the same question that you can help answer that for. So that is why we always recommend starting with 20 of the most frequently asked questions. After you identify the most frequently asked questions, next up, we recommend doing an About Me piece every quarter. Now, when it comes to doing an About Me piece, we want you to introduce yourself, introduce your business. What is it you do? What do you specialize in? And do this every 3 months. Why? Because you get new followers throughout the year, and it's important to stay in front of those followers at all times. And it's a great way to also just recycle content in a different angle and a different perspective. The most important thing we recommend with doing an About Me piece is that you give them a bit of a behind the curtain view of you and your business, okay? This allows them to have a better understanding of who you are, and it gives them that sense of belonging, that sense of engagement with you, and it adds to the bigger picture of building a community on social media. So an About Me piece, do one, film yourself, take the time, figure out how you can do it. You can do a point of view perspective where you're not on camera and you're kind of just showing your business from your point of view, or you can do one of you talking directly to camera, like how I'm doing right now. There's so many different creative ways you can do it. So do not shy away. Get yourself or your business at minimum on camera. Last but not least, you have 3 seconds to capture your audience's attention, okay? There's a couple ways you can do this. Let's start with using shock value. And when I say use shock value, I don't mean say anything offensive, nothing like that. I just mean using a statement that can get people to have a different thinking approach. So it just makes them stop what they're doing and they start thinking, because you're using what we like to say shock value. Here's an example. As a real estate agent or a loan officer, we've seen people do this. They say something like, you can't buy a home in this market. Pause is what your family and friends are saying. And then that real estate agent or lender goes in and they start debunking that statement by saying, hey, that's not true. This is what it is. And that really gets viewers to stop what they're doing because they're like, hey, what? Like, what are they saying right now? And that's how shock value helps them. So shock value is one of many ways to get people to stop scrolling. Another way is just in general thinking outside the box. For example, a client of ours, for their hook, they spilt a glass of milk. And then they elaborated saying, there's no use of crying over spilled milk because of X, Y, and Z. And it worked great for their video. It got people to stop scrolling and it gave his watch time so much more than all of his previous videos. All because they thought outside the box. So we highly recommend when it comes to creating great hooks for your videos, come up with a unique approach that will really get people thinking and want to engage and interact and just in general watch your content. These are just a few tricks to help you get the ball rolling on your social media content creation. Remember, creating content does not have to be complicated. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe and follow Table Media Group on all major social media platforms. If you have any questions, feel free to email me directly at isaiah@tablemediagroup.com. We'll see you next time.